Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your source for Second Amendment news. Kids are finally in bed, so I got a couple of quick minutes here shoot a video about what's going on in Maryland. The Second Amendment is under attack big time in Maryland. This week they actually debated 19 different anti-gun bills. I'm not going to go over each one of them in depth, but what I will do is I'll give you a quick rundown of what they were. I'll have links in the description to each one, but I also want to tell you about two sheriffs who stepped up and did the right thing for their counties in Maryland. So we'll start with the bills. HB 92 has to do with handgun permits and ways that people can pay for them. HB 96 is going to redefine the term transfer. HB 236 is the Repeat Firearm Offender Act of 2019. HB 342 has to do with permits to carry, wear, or transport and qualifications. That's pretty good because they want to add personal self-defense as one of the reasons that people can carry, which is the only reason people should really carry. But HB 468 is access to firearm storage requirements. HB 541 is the permit to carry, wear, or transport handgun qualifications. Again, has to do with permits and quals and stuff like that. HB 612 has to do with basically naming the Colt AR-15 Sporter H-bar rifle as an assault weapon and banning that in the state. HB 722 has to deal with reporting theft of firearms, etc. HB 740, they're calling it the 3D Printed Firearms and Ghost Guns Act. That is just saying that you can't, if it passes, which it probably will, you can't 3D print your own firearms, and you can't build your own out of parts kits, which is totally legal federally, but each state now that it's like they just found out about this, that the Democrats just learned about people could legally build their gun in the last year, and now they're all going after this. Now this one is interesting. HB 749, the title of it is The Right to Purchase, Own, Possess, and Carry Because of Medical Cannabis Patient Rights Act. Right now, a few states have made smoking marijuana legal, whether it's recreational or through medical licenses, but because marijuana is still federally prohibited, you are a prohibited person when it comes to firearms permits if you smoke weed legally and claim it. And if you don't claim it on the form and they find out, then you lied on that, and that's a felony, and you go to jail for that. But this bill is looking to address that, and this is going to be interesting how that happens, because even though Maryland might make it okay to smoke medically legal, it's still federally prohibited. So don't fall for this one, Maryland. Don't get your hopes up, because the feds are ultimately the ones who say if you're prohibited or not. HB 95 is next. This has to do with firearms disqualifications regarding antique firearms. Currently, if you're disqualified for any reason of carrying a firearm, you can still own antique firearms. This is looking to take away that, so you can't carry, or can't mount that blunderbuss on your wall. HB 774 has to do with studying crime firearms. That's guns used in crime. This next bill is HB 781. Totally, I don't understand this one at all. It's called the Parishioner Protection Act of 2019. Basically, you can become a licensed church and be able to carry in your church under this license, but people carry in church anyway. It's just a way for the state to make money. The next one is HB 769, Harford County Parishioner Protection Pilot Program. Same thing as the one I just said, but just specifically for that county, Harford County. HB 786, the rifle and shotgun transactions. This has to do with what they call the gun show loophole, which doesn't exist, but they're going to force background checks to person-to-person transactions. The next one is HB 834. It's called Legally Owned Firearms Replacement Act. Basically, if you had an AR before they were banned and you were grandfathered, this would allow you to replace it if it was lost or broken. HB 927 is the Maryland Police Training and Standards Commission training requirements related to firearms. And this is just saying that when the cops qualify, it has to meet FBI qualifications. HB 1146, forfeiture of firearms, sales to dealers. This allows police departments that had guns forfeited to them to turn them around and sell them to a dealer. And HB 1247 is called the No Fear in Education Act, Student Protection in School, Meadow-Pollux Law. This has to do with arming school resource officers. So 19 bills, nothing really good as far as helping the Second Amendment in Maryland, which is already has a red flag, the extreme risk protection order, and took a gentleman's life in Baltimore. But two sheriffs have stepped up and said, we're not going to enforce these laws. They're unconstitutional, and I believe that they should be acknowledged for what they've said. Now, the first sheriff, I'm going to butcher this name, which is half the reason you guys and gals watch these types of videos here. It is Sheriff Mike Lewis from Wicomico County, Maryland. He was the first one to come out and said, we are not going to enforce these laws. They're unconstitutional. And the second sheriff is Sheriff Ronnie Howard from Somerset County. He came out as well and said these are illegal, and it's actually pissing off the Attorney General, who says that the sheriff's job, and I'm paraphrasing, the sheriff's job is to enforce the law, but what he's not saying is that an unconstitutional law is not a law and shall not be enforced. So it's interesting to see what's playing out, not just here in Maryland, but you got counties in Washington State who are coming out. Sheriffs are saying we're not enforcing these laws. You got some that are coming out in New Mexico doing the same thing, and now we have Maryland. So it is very nice to see that the law enforcement officials in their areas are actually doing what they're supposed to do. They're honoring their oath, and they're taking the fight to these liberal clowns that are just making unjust laws. So please pass this along. If you live in those counties, actually, you know what? I'll have the contact information for both of these sheriffs if you want to give them a yell or whatever and give them an attaboy. If you live in their counties, you need to reach out and thank them because they're doing their best to keep the ravens at bay, because they're coming hot and heavy. Please subscribe to Guns and Gadgets for all the news, good, bad, and ugly, related to the Second Amendment, faster than you're going to get it anywhere else, right here. Please join us. Till we see each other again, this is Jared from Guns and Gadgets. Be safe, stay vigilant, and carry your weapon. Take care, everybody.